You guys are watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey, and this is my big board, my top 32 prospects in order for the 2022 NFL Draft. The number one rule, can't be scared of being wrong. Even though the hot thing has been to ding this player, Kyle Hamilton is still my number one player. Been that way for a while, although this is the first time we've actually done it publicly because that's how my big board works. I've seen things like Kyle Hamilton's slow, or he's a bad athlete, or Derwin James is a better athlete. All things which are not true. I am sorry. Hamilton did not run a great 40-yard dash, but I saw from Albert Breer today, Derwin James, way better athlete. It's not what the measurements say when you factor in size. Faster? Yes. More explosive? Slightly. Better agility? No. Derwin actually didn't test that great in agility-wise. Both of those guys are awesome players. The anti-Hamilton brigade has been because of his 40-yard dash. But we all thought leading up to it, he had all the traits you want. The 40-yard dash is still not that bad for someone his size. So I think we've overcompensated with Hamilton. Now, my big board is not a mock draft, not where I think they'll go. Does not even factor in positional value. So if I were the Jags, I would not take Kyle Hamilton, number one overall. But for just a pure player perspective, he is my number one guy this year. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It happens. We're all wrong all the time in this industry. So I want to hear from you guys. You can be wrong with me. Who is your top prospect in the 2022 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comment section right now. Number 2. Evan Neal, the lineman out of Alabama. Big men are not supposed to move the way he does. I think he will benefit from playing one specific position versus bouncing around. He should be a top 5 pick this year. Aidan Hutchinson, I forgot to mention, by the way, none of these guys, outside of maybe Kyle Hamilton, would have been a top 10 player for me last year. Hamilton might have snuck in, but Evan Neal would have been more like 12-ish. That is the level of talent difference in this year's class at the top. In an ideal world, none of these guys go number one overall. But somebody's got to, because the talent at the top isn't quite the same. Hutchinson, hyped as a safe player. He's also a great athlete. I think he's going to be a good pro. Ekwonu, number 4, NC State. Needs some time as a pass protector, but his athletic ability and his run blocking is profoundly impressive, and that should not be overlooked. The Neal, Hutchinson, Ekwonu, and the number 5 guy in a minute here, that grouping is very tight. If you want to have Ike Ekwonu over Evan Neal, I get it. So which offensive tackle would you rather take? EN for Evan Neal, IE for Ekwonu. They're both top 5 guys for me. I ain't going to be mad whichever one you pick. Let me know in the comments section. Kayvon Thibodeaux, number 5 here. The character buzz, I'll call it, has been very loud, but he should still be a top 5 pick. He's too talented. He's too good at playing football. Yes, there's the ego stuff we've all heard about, cares about his brand. Guess what, folks? Welcome to life in football. The brands are a thing. You're going to have to deal with it. So I think that's been overblown for KT. Derek Stingley didn't change that much for me on my board, and we'll mention number 7, Ahmad Gardner, here as well. Stingley's kind of hung where he's been the entire time for the most part on my board. From at the end of the year, like I finished him early because he didn't play at all this year. Injuries are a real red flag. Gardner didn't get beat at Cincinnati, so I think I am a bit of an outlier not having Gardner as CB1. I think Stingley can do more for you at corner. I have some concerns with Gardner's quicks and transitions, but both these guys are easy first-round grades. If you need a corner, I'd feel good taking them. There is more risk-reward for Stingley, however, with all the injury concerns. So pick a corner for me. DS for Derek Stingley, AG for Ahmad Gardner. Which one would you guys rather have if you needed a number 1 corner in this year's class? Number 8, Tyler Linderbaum. He might not go round 1, which is a joke, because Linderbaum is awesome. Yes, he is undersized with short arms, but it didn't matter at Iowa. He wasn't getting pushed and bowled over by big linemen because that didn't happen. I think Linderbaum, he's going to be overlooked by teams. I think he will be a Pro Bowl center if he goes to a zone blocking scheme. And there is a gap for me in terms of my player grades. Linderbaum 8, and then a decent drop-off after that. Who do you think is the most underrated NFL draft prospect this year? The most disrespected guy? Drop a name for me, or names, in the comments section. Trent McDuffie, number 9. Yes, his arms are small, but he's a good corner. So just take him. I know that teams might view him as a nickel. I don't really care. He's sticky in coverage. I can play on the outside. I like him a lot in the same way I was pretty high on Asante Samuel, but McDuffie's bigger than Samuel was. Charles Cross, number 10. He needs some run blocking work. I comped him to Andre Dillard with the red flags that go along with that player comparison, but he's a damn good pass blocker, and it's tougher to find pass blockers than it is run blockers. There's Jordan Davis at number 11 overall. The concerns about his conditioning, about his level of workload, being a part-time player for the loaded, admittedly, Georgia defensive line, those are all valid. But he's also a premier athlete that it's just so impactful that you have to think he's going to be. Vita Vea was a better prospect, for me at least. But I'd still take Davis in round 1. He's number 11 on my board. We will be live for the 2022 NFL Draft on Rumble and on YouTube. So wherever you're watching from, make sure you tune in. We'll be live for all 7 rounds, every single pick of all 3 days, plus grades videos going out afterward. We'll do everything around the draft. We've got you guys covered. So if you haven't already, subscribe. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. Garrett Wilson is next up here. Ohio State wide receiver. He's my wide receiver 1. I have a first-round grade on him. Elite body control. He'll go early this year. Devin Lloyd, amid some very vague, I'll call it, whispers about an injury that wasn't very clear, and his age, which he's not even the oldest guy that's going in round 1, so whatever. Didn't test the greatest. He's too good at football. He can blitz. He can cover a little bit. He can stop the run. Linebackers don't go that early. Lloyd's one of the good ones, though. Jamison Williams is the first of my, I call him cheater grades, round 1/round 2. I've only got 13 true first-round grades here, but I've got a bunch of first/second-round grades because I'm a coward. Jamison Williams, if it wasn't for the knee injury, he might have been my wide receiver. I think he would have been, but he does get dinged a little bit for that. Now, Drake London didn't test. Coward. But he would have run maybe 4.55, somewhere in that range. That's okay at his size and his playmaking. He does separate from defensive backs. I don't buy, I do not see it, the lack of separation on film. It was that his quarterback sucked. He gets open and the ball was poorly thrown. It happens. Williams, London, no complaints about them being a round 1 pick. Now, who is your wide receiver 1 this year? Is it London, Williams, Olave, Wilson? We'll get to Olave and Burks later on, plus another receiver at the back end. Let me know in the comments right now. The potential number 1 overall pick is my number 16 player. That is Travon Walker. Now, look, media was behind on Walker, and the athletic traits are undeniable in a similar fashion as Jordan Davis, although he actually produced a bit more, but he's an edge, so that makes sense. Walker isn't the same freak athlete Jordan Davis is, but he is a freak one in his own right. I can't get on board giving more than a round 1/2 grade for an edge with 6 sacks in his best year. I know that we shouldn't, it's not always about production. I get that. That's not good production. So in round 1, yes. In round 10, factor in the top 10 positional values, my edge 3, sure. Number 1, I can't do it. Kenyon Green, next up here, the lineman from A&M, and then right after him, Zion Johnson, both with that round 1/round 2 grade. If you need a guard, take either and be happy. There has been some very late whispers, per Daniel Jeremiah, of a knee issue for Kenyon Green. Not factored in on this, but that is something worth monitoring. Kaiir Elam, next up here, number 19 overall on my board. I love Elam. I am surprised he doesn't get consensus round 1 pick buzz. He's my number 4 corner. He should go in the first round. I think he's a really, really good man coverage guy. Nakobe Dean is undersized with some medical red flags with his knee and whatnot, but his instincts are off the charts. He wasn't that far away from being a true round 1 grade for me. He's number 20 on my board. Teams will ding him because of the size, and I don't think he's actually that elite of an athlete, but if you know where you're going, you can make up for not having the best top-end speed. Now, if you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube and on Rumble. We have news, rumors, free agency, and draft coverage for you guys every single day, multiple times every single day, and it's free, by the way. If you haven't already, hit that big red button on YouTube at youtube.com/chatsportstv, or hit the follow button on Rumble at rumble.com/NFL Daily. 21, Chris Olave, fluid route runner, great hands, doesn't bring you much after the catch, and that's why he only got the 1-2 cheater grade for me. Daxton Hill, out of Michigan. I think he's going to be a great safety in the NFL. He checks in at 22. And I bumped Breece Hall up late in the process. I went back and was going through my notes, and I'm like, I don't have many negative things to say about Breece Hall. So why did I not have him at least as a 1-2 cheater grade? So it ended up being my last one in that area, number 23 overall. Positional value not factored in. Jermaine Johnson is next up here. Georgia to Florida State transfer. This is the start of my second round grades. And you can talk to teams. They will not have round 1 grades getting to 32. It's not how NFL teams grade it, not how I grade it either. I think he's a good run stopper. I want a little bit more in the pass rush side, but he's, I think, going to be a steady pro. Treylon Burks at 25. Not the hyped athlete that was promised. I have separation concerns. But once the ball is in his hands, I don't think there's a better yak guy in this year's class. He is like a running back with the ball in his hands. It's build-up speed, but it does get there. So Burks 25, I think is pretty fair. There was a point where I thought I was a George Karlaftis hater. And now I feel like 26 is what most people have him at, or in that range. Not a true round 1 guy for me. I want a little bit more bend off the edge, but I think he's going to have a very solid career as a good number 2 pass rusher in the NFL. Now, who do you think is the most overrated NFL draft prospect this year? Let me know in the comments section who the most overrated player is. One of my guys now, Roger McCreary, number 27. I don't think he's going round 1. I really don't. But that is because he ran a 4.5 40, has tiny arms. I don't care. Go watch the Bama game and tell me you don't want that guy on your football team. He's my 5th corner in this year's class. The 6th is Andrew Booth, who I know I am lower on than most people, at least some people. I get C.J. Henderson vibes, which is a good and also bad. Hopefully he is a bit more productive in the NFL, but he is just inside my top 30. Another one, Georgia player, Quay Walker, one of several guys who could all go round 1 from Georgia. Not included on this list is also Lewis Senior, just missed out on my top. He's in my top 35. Walker could go round 1. He's not a big-time playmaker yet at linebacker in the same way as some of his teammates were on that defense, but he's a great athlete. Great frame. I think we'll have a good NFL career. Now, I'm only doing my top 32 today because, well, look how long this video has gone on already. I will be putting out my whole list, though. You can get it on Twitter. It'll be an article and in Google spreadsheet form for you. So hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney if you want that full big board. Devontae Wyatt, number 30. Now, talent-wise, I had him at as a cheater 1-2 grade, and he would have been top 20. There's been more buzz, and we don't know this for certain, so I didn't ding him too hard for it. But I did ding him a little bit. That's how I do my boards. character off the field, sexual assault stuff, it's a pretty big red flag. So we'll know based on where he goes. He should go in round 1. If he doesn't go round 1, then we know those concerns were real. Number 31, Trevor Penning. And this is a tough one for me because I love the athlete. I love the run blocking. I love the aggression, but he's also too aggressive. Like, he's out there playing way after the whistle, holding guys. He's a penalty machine, both after the whistle and with holds. He gets beat too much in pass protection, but he's an elite athlete. And those elite athletes at tackle, like Colton Miller, for example, normally end up figuring it out. So he's barely top 32 for me. Second round grade, I wouldn't reach on him, but positional value means he'll probably go higher. Finally, Sky Moore, 32. I think his release package is actually pretty damn special. I was very impressed by how good it was out of him. Does he go round 1? I don't know, but he is actually my number 6 receiver in a pretty strong receiver class. A lot of players I left off. I'm sorry. One notable one were all of the QBs. I have no QBs in my top 32 because they're simply not that level of prospect. Malik Willis is my number 1 QB. I have a second round grade on him, and he's number 45 overall on my big board. I don't want to reach for a QB just because he's a QB.